Hey guys, so I've been in the UK for about 2 years now, and after going through a couple of layoffs and a couple of different visas, I finally got an unlimited visa called the Global Talent Visa. Today, I'm going to tell you what goes into getting that, how you can get that, and what it actually is. So, if you want to come to the UK, there are three kinds of visas that you can get to come here. One of them is a study visa, so you could apply for a master's or a bachelor's degree here, which then gives you a study visa, which allows you to stay till the end of your studies. At the end of that, you can then apply for a post-study work visa, which allows you to work for another 1 year or so, I believe. The other kind of visa that most of you will actually get is the skilled worker visa. And that was the visa I was actually on when I moved here myself back in 2022. The skilled worker visa is an employer-focused visa. So an employer sponsors your stay in the UK for a couple of years, and you get to stay in the country till the employer is sponsoring your visa, basically. And either the company pays your visa fees or they are taken through your salary. Generally, there's a clawback period for the first year where the company pays for it, but if you don't stay within that first year, then they take back a percentage of it. The skilled worker visa is really good because it allows you to stay, it allows you to study, but it doesn't give you unlimited rights in the UK. For example, even though you can start businesses, you can't really work for those businesses. Your work hours outside of your company are limited, and they have to be in the same field that the company hired you for. So if you work in IT, your work outside of work can only be in IT. And there's certain limitations on volunteering and stuff like that. So you can't even take on unpaid work really, at least legally, if you report it to the HMRC, which is the tax reporting agency here in the UK. So since the skilled worker visa is so limiting, how can you actually make a good life here in the UK if you're from outside without having to worry about switching jobs and stuff like that, or even switching sponsors if you get laid off? So that happened with me a couple of times. I got laid off from a bunch of companies because of the market situation, which led to me switching skilled worker visa a bunch of times. However, it wasn't really ideal because it's always a stressful situation in between those job changes. So I decided to apply to a special kind of visa called the Global Talent Visa. Earlier, it used to be called the Exceptional Visa as well. It is unlimited visa, a tier 1 visa as it's mentioned in the UK website, which sort of gives you unlimited rights to stay and work here in the UK. For the Global Talent Visa, you have to get an endorsement from the relevant body. For people in digital technology like me, you have to get an endorsement from TechNation, which is the endorsing body for the Global Talent Visa for people in the field of digital technology. You have to submit a bunch of documents to get that, and then at the end the body endorses you, and with that endorsement you can then go on and apply to the UK Home Office for a Global Talent Visa. Now the benefits of this visa are that you can start any business here in the UK, you can work anywhere, you're no longer limited by employer, and you can also study freely. The only disadvantage is that I think you can't work as a sports person and that you can't take on any public benefits, but if you're here of your own accord, I imagine that you won't rely on the public benefits anyways. Now, the visa costs are a bit expensive for global talent. They're the same as skilled worker, but in this case, since you're paying for your visa fees, it can get a lot. I think if you look at the current fees for a year, it can get up to 1,500. If you want to stay till the ILR, which is the indefinite leave to remain, then you have to apply for at least 5 years and some months, which ends up being 6 years because you can't apply for a visa in months increments. So in total, that's 6 times 1,500. I'm bad at math, but you can do it for yourself. Now, how does one apply to this visa? To apply, as I said, you need to submit a bunch of documents to the endorsing body. The documents you need to provide are your CV, a personal statement about why you want to work in the UK specifically, and what benefits you can give to the UK and what the UK actually does for you. You have to give 3 letters of references from people you worked with in the past and who are at high positions in their companies. And then you have to give up to 10 evidences about optional criteria like why you are an innovator or stuff like that. Now, in the end, when you apply with all of this, you either get an acceptance, you're either asked for more information, or you get a rejection, and then you can sort of reapply with providing more evidences. Although if you're rejected, you probably need to think through your strategy about how you want to apply again. In my case, I learned about the Global Talent Visa as soon or before my first layoff. However, I didn't have enough experience to apply for it yet. I was helping organize a couple of meetups, and I decided to wait 1 year so that I could get enough experience there so I could show that on my endorsement evidences. One of the main things you have to keep in mind is that whatever evidence you submit, you have to do that for more than a year. So you can't be doing something for less than a year and then show that as an evidence, because the body will know that you've been trying to game the system and apply for the visa there. So after a year was complete, I started filling out my application. It took about 6 months for me because of my laziness and procrastination, but I also had to reach out to a bunch of people. In the end, I think I decided to submit 6 letters of references. Some of the letters of reference were a part of my evidence, so all of that added up. And in the end, when I submitted all of these evidences, I actually got a response in 2 days. So I was able to apply for the visa very quickly once I actually got that endorsement. Some of the evidences I showcased were the kinds of talks that I've given in the past. So I've been speaking in meetups since 2019. I've given conference talks in a couple conferences. I've hosted meetups. I've hosted cohort-based courses. And I've also got a ton of GitHub contributions. So just showcasing all of that, you actually make your documentation really solid, and you show to the endorsing committee why you deserve to be a global talent for the UK. So that's where my story continues. I received the global talent visa a couple of days ago. So now I have to decide what I want to do with it. I'll definitely stick with my current job, which I really love, but I might end up starting a business or try a few projects on the side without being afraid of losing my visa in case I quit employment or I'm let go of in the future. So yeah, that's my journey. If you want to learn more, feel free to DM me on Twitter at The Writing Dev. I've also got TopMate set up where in case you've got the evidences ready, maybe I can help you set them up correctly. Or in case you just want to learn more about the global talent visa, maybe we could talk about that as well. So thanks and have a good day.